mean, since 2002, we lodged our first formal complaints with the Commission. So yes, we've come a long way, and we've carried out a lot of different actions, whether it's at citizen, cross-border, direct to the Commission. But we have to maintain pressure because the scale of the industry, the nature of a petrochemical industry is such that it impacts directly on people's health. And we know that mortality has been a serious issue. Higher mortality than average in the Campo area has been a serious issue. So all these things sort of seem to peak at different times. And what's brought about the sudden attention on this issue is the fact that in late January we saw horrific levels of flaring, which indicate that there is substandard operations going on at the refinery that are still not resolved.
Well, the refinery spent approximately €3 million recently in upgrading their equipment, and they say that this goes some way towards bringing their refinery into line with standards, environmental standards. Does this bring some solace to you?
I wish there was. Again, the background to the refinery is that up until the last couple of years, there was a level of state ownership in there, there was European ownership in there, so there was perhaps more pressure on shareholders and whatnot to press for true environmental benchmarks and standards. Today, the refinery is owned by the Abu Dhabi Sovereign Wealth Fund, so not European in any shape or form, not national in any shape or form. So I think to apply pressure via the Commission is not easy. Nevertheless, perhaps the costs needed to clean up the industry may be easier to find, given that it is a very wealthy nation that now owns it, and at a very much closer level. It's clear that the levels of pollution produced in the short flaring episodes and that must be tackled, and it was therefore incredibly welcome to see the Gibraltar government, for the first time ever, lodge a formal complaint on such pollution incident that hasn't happened before. And we think this must help, obviously, in Brussels.
Is there a concern that, as a result of the UK and Gibraltar leaving the European Union, a lot of the access that you have to its institutions to be able to put these complaints to the Commission and to the European courts will be lost? Some of this access will be lost?
Totally. I mean, we're very concerned about that. Our only redress has really been through the European courts or Commission, and we've been to visit them and whatnot. We've spoken. There is a forum now with government, GONS and ourselves to look at these issues in more detail and see, but these concerns that we have are of a European nature. This is cross-border, transboundary. When you look at waters or air, these cannot stop at borders. So not having those tools and mechanisms is going to be a serious impact for the environment. There is a lot of priority clearly given to employment and business. But look, we still have to be able to breathe the air and live in a decent quality of life, and this means that the whole of the bay has to be managed a lot better than it is. But we need to sort of focus back in what rather small resource NGOs can do about this. We've got protests, we've got focusing on the issue in detail, any data so we cannot be set aside with platitudes by La Junta saying they're going to do X, Y, and Z. We've got to examine that and say, look, fine, do that, review the license by the refinery, limit its emissions, yes, but the emission data has got to be independently sourced, and that's what we and the Spanish NGOs will be pressing on at Commission level. We can't let them off the hook. We've got to keep up our efforts as much as we can.